Welcome to Football Game Plan Scout Team. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. And now that the 2021 NFL Draft is complete, let's take a look back and see how well these teams did this past April. With rookie minicamps done and the 90-man roster with the undrafted free agents locked in as they head into training camp, let's evaluate the entire class and hand out a grade. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Football Game Plan Scouting grading scale to see what these numbers next to the prospects actually mean. The Baltimore Ravens are a team that just do what they do in the draft when it comes to attacking the line of scrimmage. You see that with Odafe Oweh out of Penn State, the edge rusher. Ben Cleveland, a tremendous guard coming out of Georgia, should step in right away and compete for a starting job. You also look at someone like Ben Mason, a fullback, the number one fullback in the draft class. They were able to grab him in round 5. And again, it just rounds out their team and makes them a better football squad as a whole. But what I really liked about the Ravens draft was the fact that they were able to continue to get handsy on the perimeter. Now, they've added some receivers in the last couple of drafts to supplement the talent of Lamar Jackson, but this year they got serious about it by going with a guy like Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota, who has tremendous hands, a great catch radius, and one that should step in right away and be that 1A in the passing attack. They also got Tylan Wallace, who's kind of like a souped-up version of what they had in Willie Snead. So Wallace is someone that plays bigger than his size. Both guys are about 6 feet 190, but they have tremendous hands, and I think that's a big key in what they wanted to add on the perimeter in this draft, and they were able to accomplish that with two well-accomplished receivers in the passing game. And I like how on defense they went with upside potential with particular players like Dalen Hayes out of Notre Dame, the edge rusher. When you watch him play and watch his film, you see tremendous upside potential as a blitzer. He's a seek and destroy defender that should fit in perfectly with Baltimore. Sean Wade out of Ohio State was one prospect that probably should have came out last year, as his stock kind of tanked this season, to put it lightly. But when he was asked to play inside as a slot defender last year, that's why people had him as a first-round talent. I think Baltimore will find a way to put him in position to be successful, and he'll get back to the first-round talent type ways that we saw from him in 2019. And you also look at a guy like Brandon Stevens, who was a tremendous tailback at UCLA before transferring to SMU to go all in on a position switch at cornerback. So naturally, he has the athleticism. He's able to transition well out of his breaks. He plays the ball very well in the air because he's thinking like an offensive player. So again, upside potential to play in that secondary with a guy that is still scratching the surface of his potential at that position. So I love what those defensive players bring to the table for Baltimore. And looking at some of the undrafted rookie free agents they were able to add, they got my number one free safety prospect in Darius Washington out of TCU. He's a guy that is all over the secondary when you watch TCU play on defense. I thought he was better than Trayvon Moore, who went earlier to the Las Vegas Raiders. Washington reminds me a lot of Tyrann Mathieu and how he's able to play across the board in the secondary, match up in the slot. He's a seek and destroy type alley defender, has great ball skills. So to me, the Ravens got a steal for free, quote unquote, with Washington. And Nathan McQuarrie out of Saginaw Valley State, excellent running back from the Division II ranks, is a one-cut downhill runner that has some next level burst and explosiveness. So I'm excited to see how he's going to work within this Baltimore Ravens system. As we know, any back you put back there that has any level of explosiveness or burst combined with Lamar Jackson is going to have a tremendous opportunity to be successful. And going back to last year's draft class, this guy, Kenji Bahar, the quarterback out of Monmouth, I called a lot of his games in college. He is someone that has very good upside potential as a quarterback. You look at what he brings to the table. He's smart, he's accurate, he's decisive. He got better every year at Monmouth. And because of COVID and all the opportunities that were taken away from a lot of these guys last season, he missed out on the 2020 draft campaign because of, again, COVID-19. We didn't know much about what was going on, but the Ravens were able to bring him in for a tryout, ended up signing him to the roster, and I think he has a chance to at least be on the practice squad this year, but definitely has the tools to make the roster and be a significant asset to what they're building out there in Baltimore. You saw all the quarterbacks play last year for the Ravens, and all of them, to be quite honest, played particularly well. So they see something they like in certain quarterbacks, and Bahar will fit right in with Baltimore. The Ravens get a B+ in the draft. For me, I look at what they were able to add in Ben Cleveland, Ben Mason, a good fullback, number 1 fullback, Ardarius Washington as an undrafted free agent, my number 1 free safety, but also adding those receiving options around Lamar Jackson and getting a guy in Odafe Oweh who didn't have the production last year, but has the measurables and the traits to be successful. I can trust Baltimore to make that work for them with the pick coming out of Penn State. So overall, just a solid, strong class for the Ravens. So that's it for this edition of Football Game Plan Scout Team. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of my social media accounts. And don't forget to check out and subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network located at youtube.com/footballgameplan. Also subscribe on iTunes to Football Game Plan Podcast and leave us a 5-star rating.